Here in Daniel chapter 11, we see the outplaying of the various kingdoms mentioned throughout this book. There are 4 kingdoms mentioned in Daniel chapter 2 with the statue. There's more in Daniel chapter 7. Here in Daniel chapter 9, we see, beginning at this chapter, we see after Nebuchadnezzar's reign, we see the Medes and the Persians. And then we see a long section of just this chapter, Daniel 11, talking about the things that happened during the third kingdom, the kingdom of Greece. Down here in verse 36 about, the king shall do as he wills. This here, most people take to be the beginning of the 4th kingdom. So the 4th kingdom would be the legs in the statue and so forth throughout the book of Daniel. What's interesting here is that this king, who does as he wills, he will exalt and magnify himself against God, speak astonishing things against God. But if we skip down a little bit, down here to verse 40, we see, at the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him. Now, this king of the south, if we go back up to the top of this chapter, we see here in chapter 4, it talks about, and as soon as he has arisen, this is the king of the beginning of the Grecian kingdom. So before that was the Medes and Persians. Here in chapter 4, we see the beginning of Greece. So we were just looking at the beginning of the 4th kingdom. But before that, and before all the stuff in the middle, we are in verse 4, as soon as he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken apart and divided to the 4 winds of heaven. This is talking about Alexander the Great. He died at a young age. His kingdom was split into 4 smaller kingdoms, and that's what we know as ancient Greece. But it says, his kingdom shall be broken and divided towards the 4 winds of heaven. The NASB translates this phrase, the 4 winds of heaven, as the 4 points of the compass. This is where we're getting the kings of the north, the kings of the south, east, west. Mostly dealing with the kings of the north and the south in this place. And again, we after we go through all of the prophecies about the kingdom of Greece, we come back down to verse 40. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him. Shall attack who? The king of the 1st kingdom, or of the 4th kingdom here. What's very important to note here is that the king that's being attacked is the beginning of this 4th kingdom. The one that's attacking him is one of the kings of the 3rd kingdom. Now, it talks about the king as being a position of authority, so different human individuals fill that kingship and fill that role throughout the duration of the kingdom of Greece. But the scripture talks about the king regardless of who the actual individual is filling that position. But what's important to note is that the leader of the 4th kingdom, the first emperor of the 4th kingdom, is contemporaneous, is living at the same time as the king of the south of the 3rd kingdom. That prohibits any other interpretation that the king of the 4th kingdom is a future kingdom. That means that the 4th kingdom must necessarily be the king of ancient Rome. We take that to be Caesar Augustus. It talks about several of his exploits throughout this part of throughout the next couple of verses up to the end of the chapter. This is exactly what happened when Caesar Augustus took over basically marched. He was one of the 3 kingdoms, but he marched against Cleopatra and Mark Antony. It talks about this verse here where it talks about the ships, the chariots, the horsemen, but notably no infantry. This is exactly what happened at the dawn of the Roman Empire in 27 AD. Rome had existed as a city before that. It had been a republic for a time, but this was the beginning of the actual Roman Empire. And so what we see is that this is the only possible explanation for the 4th kingdom. The 4th kingdom must be historical Rome.